Hello and welcome to my next video tutorial. Today I'm going to present to you techniques that I used to paint this Dreadnought. Of course, the second half of his body will look a bit different than the one that you can see now, because the light will work a bit differently. I hope this time to paint him in a style where there's one source of light. I know it doesn't work exactly how I just said everywhere, but the main reflections supposed to be like this. So I want this half of the Dreadnought to be brighter than this one. And because of that, if the light is coming straight from or is lighting up this part, then the biggest reflections I will again have here, just like here. And I'm supposed to have the brightest here, but then I will have another reflection darker here and here. And also the biggest difference is that while these parts of the armor are super bright, like fully, here the brightest areas will be these edges, and then I will have different reflections on them. Okay, so it all starts, like always, with white paint. I'm currently using polycolor white paint because I had horrible experience with game color from Vallejo, and for some reason nobody has model color in here, so I decided to try different paints. I decided to experience with these polycolor paints, and so far I'm really happy with the results. Okay, so as you could already see on PDF, first I need to mark a few spaces with white paint. And here is one of the parts of the Dreadnought that are going to reflect the light with very big surface. And this will give it this metallic feeling. And while here I wanted this to be fully bright, then now the light will slip through this part, and here we will have the biggest shadow, not because it's the darkest, but because the difference between colors between this super bright and this less bright area will make it very dark to our eyes. So it's going to be darker, this neighboring area. And then like I said before, this part supposed to be very bright. Painting these rounded parts of the Dreadnought is kinda problematic. So I will paint it like this and later make these details more visible. Now I can basically make the same thing here and that I made here. Okay, to make this feel metallic, I need also reflection below this, because this is reflection that is coming from the light that is not coming directly from the source of light, but is reflecting from other objects. Here, like I said before, I need another reflection. This reflection is going to be smaller. And one on the bottom. Now, like I said before, the brightest parts on these chest plates will be these edges. Okay, like I said, they will be the brightest because the light is coming from here. So here the edge is the part that is facing the source of light, while the rest of it won't. So here we need super bright reflection. I'll probably do it with just white paint. Okay, but still, these parts will need to be bright at some point, like in here. Now I'm just guessing where to make it bright. Because it simply has to be reflective, but the biggest difference will be like here it will be darker, and here it will get a bit brighter, and here it will be darker again because it's not facing the source of light. But we can basically paint everything in bright colors because the color will simply look better on white, no matter if we want it to be dark or bright. Okay, I feel it will be better if here I will go with reflection in here. Okay, so that will be something like this. And big reflection here, just like on the other side. Okay, so now I will apply more layers of white paint to make flat, nice surface. And the consistency of paint that I'm using right now is something like this. Okay, so see you in a moment. Okay, it took a moment, but I did it. Okay, all the white parts are prepared now for the for something more interesting. Okay, so first I will make darkest mixture that is going to be base for the rest of the colors. As you can see, it's of course black mixed with ochre brown, and I'm trying to create mixture that is very dark and greenish. Okay, that will be it. And I can use it now in the darkest places. Like this here. But I will also keep a bit of black in a few other spaces, like on the edges here, because it's going to simply make more interesting contrast. So that's the base for everything I paint now. Of course, in here I will also have parts of this armor that will reflect the light with its whole surface, like in here. But it will simply look different than on the other side. As you can see, I am still painting this part of the miniature like it's one surface. Without this, like I said, it will be easier to paint shadow after it's all painted. Then now try to paint every detail separately. Okay, so now it's time for another tone, but very similar. So basically what I'm going to do now is to take ochre brown and add just a bit of black paint, because I want to just create a bit darker color that will have green tone in it. Maybe a bit darker. Okay, I think that something like this will work. Okay, and now let's paint this part of it for sure. Okay, I think I shall do it a bit differently. Now let's make a strong shadow in the middle of this. Okay, I think this will work better. It's important to find the balance between making this side of the Dreadnought darker, but also creating really hardcore reflections on it, because without reflections it won't look metallic. Now a bit more complicated thing, because now I will want to have brighter reflection in the middle of this part. So let's leave it white. And now this part here I want to be really bright. Okay, now on the edge of this white reflection. Okay. Maybe I will enlarge a little. Okay, I won't. Sorry. Okay, so the thing is that I can put a bit of this paint in here for another side reflection. And here I will give another color. But on the rest I'll make it in normal ways. And now of course on the edges of these reflections. So basically I'm doing the same thing but on different details. I place a mid-tone between white and dark. Okay, and here I will of course put another color, so I will leave it like this. And here, because we've got reflections over here, it's good to make another reflections on the bottom, because this will create contrast between bright top and this dark edge, and then going into bright color again. But this reflection on the bottom needs to be darker. I know it was painted a bit differently here, but I had my reasons for that. Okay. So now let's make another color. And here I've got reddish brown. The whole point of using this color is to make flat earth a bit more red, because, well, there are plenty of different types of gold, but I saw that adding a bit of reddish color makes it more interesting, because while I've got pretty much cold colors in the bright areas, it will simply look more interesting with warm colors in the shadows. Okay, and of course here I will tell you what I wanted to say now, but okay, now let's add this color in a few shadows just to make it more interesting. Let's try to make transition maybe between these colors, greenish and reddish. We will see. I'm not sure where it's going to bring me, but I'm sure it's worth trying. because hmm, when one color goes into another, it simply looks very interesting. And here I wanted to operate with a bit darker colors. So let's work with them. Okay, I think that this experiment can work really well, but we will find out about it only when this will be finished. Sometimes experience works, sometimes then there doesn't. Sometimes they don't, so we'll find out in a moment. Okay, and now another layer, the last one. Okay, so I will take now another try. Let's see what's going to happen if we will mix plenty of white with yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a color that I wasn't using for a long time, but because I don't know, I just thought that it's going to look different, but as it turned out, it's a nice pale yellow that works simply great. Okay. As you can see, it's very bright yellow mixture. Okay, I need two different. Okay. Okay, so it's a darker bright yellow. And now I'm going to make like super bright yellow. I hope the difference between these colors is well visible. Because the super bright, let's start with it. The super bright has to go on places like this that are facing the source of light that I imagined, of course. Okay. Of course, this area, because this is like the most important reflection on the miniature. Okay, now this darker super bright mixture. Okay, I cannot call it super bright, so let's just call it bright mixture of yellow ochre for spaces like this. Okay, I think that this reflection here is supposed to be much bigger. Okay, we are getting close. As you can see, it already started to look metallic while I didn't even start blendings. Okay, so now let's make a bit more of this reddish mixture. Okay, I added more this red color, but that's not that problem. Let's put a bit of yellow ochre here. Okay, it got a bit pinkish, but it doesn't matter. Now let's use it in here. Yeah, okay, I think it's supposed to be brighter. So let's add a bit of white to it as well. And it became pale. Okay, so that's not what I hoped for. So let's start over with more yellow and red. And I got flesh tone. Okay. Okay, let's go with it. Okay. 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 Now it's like the last thing. One of the last things is, of course, a bit of yellow ochre in here to create another layer. because like I said, it's important to have very big reflection that is super bright, but there we need steps that go that allows us to get to it. So midtones, 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 and all of a sudden really big reflection. Of course, I will make a few more layers in here, but I'm afraid that it would be impossible to show on the video because I'm afraid that I will have to have my head in the way of it. So I will show you afterwards. But you just remember that we need, like, imagine that it's pixel art. So we need more layers of colors on the way before we get to the main color that we want to achieve. Like here, I can show you another layer with yellow ochre in here. Like I said, it's supposed to be colorful mostly in areas that are bright, but are not reflection yet. Reflection is just killing most of the colors. So the colors has to be hidden in shaded areas. Just this way. And the whole magic in painting non-metallics is in this, that if you make strong contrast and sudden change from dark color to bright color, then your eye will consider this as metallic and simply reflecting the light. Of course, as you can see here, I'm making another layer with this bright yellow, but not the brightest. Like I said, it's basically pixel art that I'm later trying to blend to make it smooth. And remember that the gold, just like any other metal, if you want to paint it in way like this, where it's polished, then it's reflecting other colors. So it's good to have another colors on the metal. Okay, so now I will probably apply a few more layers of some colors, and I will see you in a moment in step of blending. Okay, so let's start work on the blendings. Okay, sorry, the camera is shaking a bit, as you can see. Okay, so let's start maybe with these details. So, as always, I'm using my technique where I'm scratching the surface of the miniature. So now I'm taking this darker reddish brown. Okay. As you can see, I am a bit chaotic in this. So, like I described it many times, if I touch the surface a bit more, then my brush gives more paint, but if I barely scratch the surface, it will leave smaller amount. And that's basically it. I try to leave more paints in places when I want to have more paint, and I'm trying to barely touch it there when I want it less. Okay, let's just make a bit more of this mix. So, like I said, you can simply first try to shade some drawing with a pencil or a pen, and it helps you to learn how to do it, because, well, like I said, the more you push it, the more visible mark it will leave. And it's actually kinda easy. Of course, the tiny lines that I'm leaving here because of the sky are barely visible, and that's why it seems to be smooth. Even for me, it's just turning out to be blended. I don't really see the scratches. And here, as you can see, I'm making transition between this reddish tone and greenish one. And as I told you, because of this technique, when I paint these tiny scratches, like with pencil, the older paint will also still be a bit visible. So thanks to that, I can make nice transition between different colors. Oh, I don't know why I added this. I forgot totally what I'm doing. I wanted to add a bit of black. Okay, so now I've got this greenish yellowish mixture, so I can change the color a bit more. Okay, let's make this mixture, but once again something in between the darkest and brighter. And I continue doing the same thing. I guess this technique is called feathering. Okay, and I need to make this brighter on the left side. I know I'm not explaining much now, but it's still making the same thing. Finally, some brighter mixture now. Let's see how pure ochre brown. Okay, it works in here. So, like I presented to you, of course, it's good to make tonations that are slightly different from these that we used before. Thanks to that, still remember about pixel art. You will have smoother, nicer transitions between colors. I hoped to present you so much more today, but as you can see, this video is not short at all already. As you can see also, this is not a really quick job. It's not hard. It's good to play some music or audiobook and just go with it. Okay, so now of course, one of the last things. After all, I can unfortunately say that I only show you how to breastplate make. I'm sorry, but you know, it looks like I would need another 1.5 hours to make this. And I know that you don't like really long videos. And also my neck hurts. Okay, so now, of course, it's time to make these parts brighter. Because as you may remember, they are still simply white. Okay, now I will highlight the rest of them off the camera. Okay, so now I'm rather explaining than presenting what I'm doing. But okay, so now it's time to paint black lines between these reflections and these scales, feathers. Because this will look the most metallic if you will create strong contrast, and what's more strong than black and almost white? What's stronger? You can even paint more of this black on the feather, on a feather, because this will simply look like it's casting more shadow, but it's more important to have a big white line. Okay, like here and here. Okay, I'll of course make this on the rest of them, and I will see you in a moment. Okay, so black lining is basically done. So now it's finishing touches time. Okay, so bottom edges are still sharp, so they need to reflect the light as well. For that, as you can see, I took ochre brown, but I probably supposed to use something like this. Okay, so let's try this, especially on these parts that are darker. Okay, now in here. Okay, something brighter is necessary. Okay, so let's try yellow ochre. Of course, the same thing on these parts on the top. Okay, the same thing under this. I googled a few times how it's called, yet I keep forgetting it. Okay, maybe something brighter. Okay, my buying brush is not cool anymore. And I cannot buy new brush anymore. Okay, and of course, let's make the top edge brighter. Especially here, where it's facing the source of light. Okay, and that would be it. Because the video is very long anyway. Okay, so as you can see, I painted the left side in much darker way than the right side. And here we've got the way how it's supposed to be looked. So the light is coming from somewhere here and it reflects strongly here. Then on the edges here, my hand is shaking, and strongly here and here because it goes like this. So this part's supposed to be darker. And well, I presented you how I'm placing the bright elements and how I'm blending them. So I hope this will be easy now for you to reproduce. Okay, so thank you for supporting my work on Patreon and for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it and see you on the next one. Bye.